Hi, this is George Alger. Welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. Today we're going to be speaking about competitive robotics. And joining us is Anshul Bajaj, who is a student of robotics. Welcome, Anshul. And let's just start out with the most basic question. What is robotics?
Sure. Thank you. Robotics is kind of the intersection of computer science and engineering. Robotics involves design, manufacturing, and operation of complex mechanisms. The goal of robotics is to build machines that can complete and aid in specific tasks.
And just to explore on that a little bit, so
Sure.
that can be very specialized tasks. So for instance, what comes to my mind is, these Android type robotics that walk around and look like people. That's actually not a complete definition. Would that be correct?
Right. I mean, almost anything could be considered a robot. Like a drone is a great example of a robot. Like a drone maybe delivering a package. I mean, even something as simple as like a washing machine could be considered a robot, right? Like it completes a human task, and it has all the design and coding and programming that kind of define what a robot is.
Very good. Yeah, already you've just expanded my understanding of robotics. Now, what is competitive robotics?
Sure. So I guess competitive robotics is really a way to get students engaged in just the concept of robotics and all of the little aspects of robotics, like I mentioned, computer science, engineering. So competitive robotics is really about the student kind of exploring these different things. And so every year, this company or this nonprofit First Inspires host robotics competitions where thousands of teams come and compete with a robot that they've built in 6 weeks.
Okay, and this would be students from around the country or around the world. How does that work?
Right. So First does cater to the whole world, which is cool. It's an international organization. However, they host like what are called regional or district events, and those are usually 30 to 40 team events where you may have 1,000 students from around the area. Sometimes you'll have an international team or two fly in for an event. And you basically just compete at all these different regional events. A team may do 2 or 3 every year. And from there, based on how well they perform, they move on to World Championships, which takes place in April.
Okay, now you are part of a team that competes
Yes,
competitively. Could you speak about that?
sure. So I'm a team member of 4414 High Tide. We're a community-based robotics team here in Ventura. And we've been competing since 2019. And so the community part is actually very important because we're not attached to a school. So students from really anywhere can join the team. And it makes it, a little bit difficult when it comes to funding, but there are a lot of benefits to being able to work, as part of our own entity.
Okay, very good. So now what is an activity of your team? I mean, I got to this competitiveness, but for instance, with a
Sure.
runner, you would understand, okay, they're practicing running. What is the
Right.
activity of
Right.
high tide?
Right. So that nonprofit I had mentioned First, every January they release what's called the game. They have a kickoff day early January where they release a video kind of showing different tasks that the robot has to complete for the year. So we all attend that. 2022, it'll be on January 8th. And we'll be attending that. We'll get to watch the video. And then from there, we have 6 to 7 weeks to build a robot that can complete all of those tasks. So this year, the focus was shooting little yellow balls. And so the robot had to kind of drive around the field, pick up the yellow balls, drive to a goal, and shoot them into the goal. 2019, we had large orange, maybe not dodgeballs, but like 4 square balls that we had to pick up and kind of place in a hole, and these Velcro discs that had to be attached to the side. So there's all sorts of different little challenges that by themselves aren't necessarily all that interesting, but when you figure out kind of how you have to achieve them and all the learning that comes with solving these tasks, it's quite interesting.
Very good. Now, did you mention that High Tide is not affiliated with a specific school?
Correct. So our team works out of a manufacturing facility here in Ventura, Sessa Manufacturing, and all of our sponsors and the way we kind of get funds is either through other businesses, like we were a NASA sponsored team, but we also receive donations and in-kind sponsors just locally.
Very good. So is there, could you at least speak to what exists already in Ventura in terms of robotic instruction? For instance, is your team independent of the schools because there aren't any teams available in schools, or just because it allows more participation?
I guess kind of both. There actually is a team here in Ventura that works out of Ventura High School, and they run their team quite a bit differently than we do. Like they're much larger and they are connected to the school. So our team was founded only 3 years ago, so we're actually pretty new compared to some of the other teams. And I guess our team was founded just to kind of give a different team, I don't know, situation, just where it's nice to be able to work outside of the school. And, if we need to access our facility at weird times, we have that ability. And it's nice to be able to work directly out of a manufacturing shop because we have access to all of the cutting edge equipment where we can utilize like industry grade machinery, like CNC machines and stuff like that.
Very good. Now, of course, you're talking about engineering, which I associate, and probably many people do, with heavy math and sciences. So could you speak a little bit about the type of person that might want to pursue robotics as a career, or at least check out, your robotics club or another robotics club?
Sure. So, I would say that, like, personally, robotics is not necessarily a career that I'm interested in going into. But I love robotics, right? I think that the competitive robotics is really for everyone, because there's always something, and I think there's a lot of different aspects that anyone can be very interested in. Like teams have like media teams, right? That focus on making videos about the robot, or their design teams that solely focus on the aesthetics of the robot. And then there are the people who do all of the kind of the hardcore math and science aspect, all the coding. And then there's also the people that do all the manufacturing, which is something that I'm very into. Just like, taking pieces of metal and turning them into functional parts that can be used on the robot. So I would say robotics as a career is definitely a little bit more specialized. Those people who are really into the math and science aspect of it, who like that's kind of all they do. So that's definitely like the person that would go into robotics. But in terms of competitive robotics, I really think a lot of people aren't super familiar with the concept and should definitely check it out.
Well, okay, very good. I think that would open it up for many more people.
Right.
We're just about out of time here, Anshul. I'm wondering if you could share a website that people could go to for more information, and if you have a summating message for the viewers.
Sure. So in terms of website, our team website is team4414.com. And then the First Robotics website is firstinspires.org.
Excellent. And did you have a summating message for the viewers?
Sure. I mean, it's kind of just like what I said. I think robotics is it's so complicated, but also so simple in that there are so many different aspects to robotics, and I really think that it does cater to a wide variety of people who may not necessarily know that they're interested in robotics. And just getting to check it out. Another thing that I didn't mention was the strategy aspect. I mean, this is something that I'm very into. I spend all of my time at competition figuring out like who we're going to work with and kind of what the best way to go about the competition is. I created an app about a year ago that allows us to track robot performance, and it's called a scouting app. So it basically gives us like data on how each team is performing. So like all of these different things can appeal to many, many different people. And I think if people just kind of gave it a chance and spent time researching and getting involved, they would be surprised.
Thank you very much, Anshul. We're going to wrap things up now.
Okay, thank you.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.